There are a gazillion lists out there to tell you the best books to read if you want to be happier, more productive, successful, build a better business, whatever it may be. And a lot of influencers and people will have you believe that if you were just to read one or all of these books, you would just transform into this better version of yourself. But from my experience, that's just not true. I think the value you get out of reading depends on three main factors. Firstly, what do you actually need at that point in time? Secondly, how much do you follow through on the advice that's given? And third, how good and applicable is that advice actually? The first thing to address is why you want to read. Are you interested just because other people have said they've gotten something out of it and you want to as well? Well, that's fine. But I think to really make it a priority, you have to have a strong reason for why you want to read something. And that's actually really easy to figure out. Just think about an area in your life that you want to improve and think up specific questions of how you want to improve in that area. And then as you research those, you can find books that specifically address those questions. For example, instead of just saying, oh, I want to be more productive, I'm going to find the best books of 2023, dig deeper. Say you have a ton of things on your plate and your biggest struggle right now is finding time to spend on something that is really important to you. Great, now you can come up with some specific questions like, why am I so busy but I don't feel like I'm actually making any progress in what matters? How do I say no to more responsibility? I want to make my life less chaotic, and so on. And now when you're looking for a book, you have specific things that the book has to address for it to be valuable to you. And so in the search, you might find a book like The One Thing, which is the right one for you, even though it's not on a ton of lists. This works the other way as well. For example, Atomic Habits is a super popular book in this space, and I've heard great things about it, but I haven't read it because its focus, habit forming, just is not an issue for me. I think reading something just because it's popular and you might get something out of it is just a really bad strategy. So focus on what you want and find a book that specifically addresses that. Within this nonfiction self-help space, I think there are two kinds of books: change-inducing and motivational. Change-inducing books are ones you read because you want to improve or upgrade some part of your life. Examples of these are Deep Work, Make Time, Never Split the Difference, Atomic Habits, and so on. The point of these books is that they give you specific actionable advice that you can use to improve, that part of your life. And so while you're reading these, you're going to be highlighting a bunch of stuff, saving tips for later, and in general, just actively reading. Motivational books are those that can still provide tangible advice, but their main goal is to light a fire under you and push you to do something. These are books like Some Days Today, Man's Search for Meaning, or biographies like Benjamin Franklin or Vagabonding. There's a stark difference between these two categories, but I think they can both be really beneficial. It just depends on where you are in life and what you need. For example, if you really need help sticking to new habits and just getting started with something, maybe a book like Atomic Habits is the one for you. Whereas if you are already on this journey of starting this new passion project, but you just need a little push every now and then, maybe a motivational book is the one for you. So identifying exactly what you need can really help your search become easier. When it comes to deriving value, you'll have very different approaches depending on the type of nonfiction that you're reading. If you're reading a change-inducing book, you're going to be consistently highlighting and taking notes of stuff that you can go and then implement in your life later. For example, for every chapter that you read, take note of at least one action that can help you and then go and test it out. Don't just read in one eye, out the other. But regardless of your method, if you're not putting into action the things that you're reading, you're not really going to get anything out of these kinds of books. Now, with motivational books, it's a little different. Most people pick these up to see how someone else has done something that they want to do, or just follow someone's journey and kind of relate it to theirs and just get motivated that kind of way. The main pitfall I see with these kinds of books is that people get very amped up and they're cheering the character on, but by the time they finish and have to begin their own journey, all that momentum and energy kind of fizzles out. So if you're reading one of these kinds of books, The second you get a jolt of inspiration and motivation from that character in their journey, put the book down and go do what you need to do. Use the emotions that that book builds up in you as you read it as inflection points for you to go and really engage and start on your own journey. Also, you can include fictional stories into this category. There are a ton of great characters that I've read that have changed the way that I see things and react in certain scenarios. So by now you know why you want to read, what you want to read, and how to get the most of what you read. So now let's talk about some actual tangible actions you can take to fit more reading into your schedule. Audiobooks are a great way to keep reading while you're doing something else like walking or cooking. But just be sure to note down interesting observations or actions that the author suggests to take. It is okay to drop bad books. If a book is not giving you what you expected, it's totally fine to drop it and move on. A lot of people have this slight FOMO that, what if I miss out on what the rest of this book might have to offer? And so they continue reading through books that just don't engage them or don't have value to them. I think this is actually kind of counterintuitive, because if you waste your time on the rest of this book, you'll miss out on all the great books out there. So if a book just isn't giving you what you want, feel free to drop it and just move on. Another great idea is to keep the book on every device you have, including your phone, your Kindle, your laptop, or even the physical book if you have it. Syncing them up might be a pain, but this means that in almost any situation that you find yourself bored, you can easily get through a page or two. Read in the empty spaces throughout your day. Again, having the book available on all your devices makes this easier, but if you have a few minutes between meetings, knock out a few pages. Maybe get a chapter in during lunch. If you think you just don't have the time, check out screen time on your phone and see if that's actually true. For most people, you'll see that you can in fact find at least 30 minutes spread throughout the day to read your book instead of watching a YouTube video or checking a Reddit post. If you really don't have a lot of time, look up the summaries and key points for books and just read the chapters on those things that you think will be of the most value to you. A ton of websites and articles will cover the key actions a book recommends, so you can just find one that appeals to you and then read that chapter to get more context around that and then go implement. Finally, I think it's really important to have a cool down period after finishing a book. First of all, congratulate yourself if this is the first one you've managed to finish in a while. And then look back on all the annotations that you've made and figure out ways to incorporate those learnings into your life. Test, evaluate, and repeat until the book has made a positive change for you. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. I really hope you got something out of it. Let me know what book you're going to read next and why and what you're hoping to get out of it in the comment section below. Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.